Welcome to 0 Hit Points, everybody. It's May 31st. I'm Ryan Miller. He is your favorite Southern short hair.
Oh, no, I got it. I have it. I have it for you.
He's got it for me. Wait.
Hairless Whisper.
Your hairless whisper.
I'm never gonna dance.
Matt Amberg.
Guilty feet have got no rhythm.
How long did it take them to cut all that off?
It actually didn't take him very long. When I walked into the barber shop, he was like, "What do you want?" I said, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, that doesn't help." And I said, "Here's what I don't want. I don't want a crew cut. I don't want a buzz cut. I don't want to see any flat parts of hair. Like, I don't want to see or skin, you know? Like, I want some hair, but not a ton of hair."
You don't want like a cool fade?
Yeah, I asked him if he could do like a design, and he was
there you are.
Very clearly, like the guy told me he was a former army barber.
Oh.
So he's like, "Yeah, I don't do that." Like, I cut your hair though. So
it's a design that starts on the eyebrow and just kind of keeps like it's...
It just
maybe
goes around. Well, I'm still growing that connector right there between the edge of the eyebrow and like the side. It's similar to the connectors between the mustache and the beard. You know,
Here.
like a while.
Yeah.
For some time when you're starting to grow, like those don't connect right away. And this is just
people don't know that.
Yeah,
it's actually creates a big circle. On the face.
And I've been trying that, but I walked in there and the dude, he after I kind of talked to him, he was like, "Yeah, I think I got an idea of what you want." And he took out his scissors and his clippers and went, "Nick," and the hair took...
And you were like, "Great, can you cut it now, maybe?"
Yeah, he was like making all sorts of noise, going,
"Check out my Three Stooges!" Right? And then he's like knocking his hands.
And he
bops you on the head real quick.
Yeah. Slap me in the face with a pie. And he said, "Don't worry, I'm gonna shave it."
Why do I go to this guy?
So yeah, he trimmed my hair, took care of the beard and everything, and actually it's kind of novel. He on the underside of my neck, I've never actually had anybody use a straight razor before, but he squared off like the back of my neck and underneath a little bit with a straight razor. It was nice.
Are you guys dating now?
Maybe.
Where's this?
He's an older gentleman. I'm not opposed.
Hey,
Army background. He knows
talking about visual things on the podcast. Hey, what's so?
For those who haven't figured it out, I used to have really long hair. Well, not really. I had long hair, and for the first time since I was about 7 years old, my hair is by far not long. It is quite short in comparison to...
It's pretty short.
Almost as short as yours.
Yeah, you've still got...
I've got a little bit.
I do a fade. I go completely, suburban.
What about you?
Technically, all we do is talk about visual things on this podcast, I guess, really.
That's what podcasts are for.
Visuals.
Mm-hmm. That's why we have viewers. If we didn't, I'd be confused.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's all making sense.
What about you? I got my hair cut. Did you do anything that was not entertainment related?
Dude, I didn't even think I was going to have a holiday weekend. I didn't even know my sister was coming into town until Wednesday. No, until right after we recorded. Little did I know I wasn't going to play any video. We played something for the stream. I played one other thing like 30 minutes before we started recording right now, just so I would have one other thing. Mm-hmm. But I did watch one movie. I did do something.
Oh, okay. I watched a couple of movies.
Well, you go then.
All right. Do you want me to start with... Now, here's the best part. This can only go one of two directions. I have a movie that I've already talked about that was really good, and then two movies that I haven't talked about that are... I could have...
What movie? What's the movie you already talked? Like we already talked about it on the show.
Definitely, yeah. We
Okay.
Beth had never watched the Flahspoint Paradox, and because Injustice came out, and I just finished watching the second season of Flash, and I was, she's been watching me play the game for a bit, and we got to talking, and I mentioned that whole story and how novel that was, and what they did with it.
That's a good animation of it. Like that's a good, well told, if compact story. Yeah, my wife watched that entire cartoon with me as well.
Yeah, did she like it?
She did. No, yeah.
Yeah, no, Beth.
Because she'll start a lot of stuff with me, but she won't always go. She'll be like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "You want me to wait to?" She'll like go to bed or something. Be like, "You want me to wait to finish it?" She's like, "No,
you're good." Yeah. No, she watched the whole thing with me. She really liked it. She was like, she actually asked me afterwards, "Are there any other animated ones that are of this quality. And I was like, well, and there's some other good ones, but they're not. That one's to me probably one of the best one out there. But yeah, it was great. I still love that comic, that whole arc, and the animation. It was super great. You know, it's fantastic cast. Lots of.
I don't remember the cast.
You know, I the ones that are standing out. Kevin Conroy, I think, has got a line or two in there.
Oh, sure, I guess.
But Ron Perlman is Deathstroke.
Oh man, yeah, missed that one.
What's his name? Nathan Fillion was Green Lantern.
Oh, I missed that one too. Jeez.
There are a couple of other bigger names in the movie I'm blanking on because it's not about them, but
right.
It's good. And then we watched The Disappointments Room. It's a horror movie that was written by, and I didn't know this going into it. I found this out the minute it started, and I was like, that can't be the same guy. Only to find out it was. Directed and written by DJ Caruso, who did the movie Eagle Eye, which was actually not the worst movie. That was actually kind of a cool little Shia LaBeouf and it was
no idea.
A monitor, like a security monitoring.
Oh, wait,
thing.
yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, that was an all right movie.
Competent little thriller.
Yeah, he
nothing,
did that.
Yeah, okay.
And he did the other one with him, Disturbia, which was basically
way better.
The remake of Rear Window, ostensibly.
Yeah. But a good one.
Yeah, it was good. He wrote this with Wentworth Miller, and I see the name, and I'm like, I know the name. That's the guy who plays Captain Cold. It was
right.
The guy who plays Captain Cold. So they wrote this movie, and it's all right. It's got
the buildup was better than the payoff.
Well, yeah, definitely. No, for sure. It's got Kate Beckinsale in it, and like Jennifer Jason Leigh's tiny little pop up. The guy that was Gerald
probably should have reversed that.
Yes,
about it.
Gerald McCraney, who I don't know if anybody remembers Major Dad, but he was the main character, Major Dad. He was major.
Was he the dad major?
He was Dad Major. Yeah, Dad's Major was his actual name.
He's a cool guy. Wasn't he? He's a Simon, isn't he?
He was a Simon
of the Simons.
He was the lesser cool Simon, I think. I don't remember.
He was like the straight arrow Simon. Yeah. The other Simon was like
the Odd Couple Simon.
Incorrigible.
Oh,
yeah.
Silly Simon.
He was.
Goofy. I got a Ferrari.
But sometimes he got his into.
Yeah. You know, Sonny Simon, I think was his name.
Was it really?
With the cowboy hat, I don't know.
He was cowboy.
Cowboy hat.
He always wears a hat. Yeah, it's in his contract. What kind of hat?
This movie is they take something that was true to life, what was a disappointment room, which was something that was late 1800s, early 20th century stuff, where people of richness.
Okay. I was gonna say color.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not that.
Okay. I chose the wrong.
Yes,
one. Okay.
This is more of an affluence thing where the children that they would have if they were deformed or malcontents in some way, something that was not meant that they felt they would be embarrassed by showing or having this child be out in public, they'd lock them in a room. And it was called the Disappointment Room, and I guess it was an actual thing. You can look it up, and they existed. And so like
if a rich family had a poor kid by accident, they would just
kind of. I think it was more about like the. I mean, all children are poor.
I'm messing around. Yeah, no.
All children are born poor. You know, so
yes,
they all get locked in the room
They're
at
useless.
one point. I had a way to work that gag, and it just didn't fit.
Neither of us did. Was the thing.
So the movie is Kate Beckinsale and husband X, who was possibly the worst part of the movie, and he's in the movie a lot. He's just he is a bad character. Period.
Okay.
It's about the husband, wife, and then their like 5-year-old son moved to this house out in the country after. Their infant child, their newborn, I guess, really is killed by the mother on accident. She rolls over while they're co-sleeping, and the mother accidentally suffocates the child.
Jeez.
And so they move out to this house, and then the house it's a little weird, and then they find this key to a room, and they find out the disappointment room, and in doing so they unlock Gerald McCraney, and finding out that Gerald McCraney is like he was one of the affluent who had a disappointing child, and hauntings begin. It has, as a concept, like it's actually a really fun.
I could see somebody doing something with that.
And the movie itself isn't awful. It's better than like the ratings you're seeing on. It follows the standard
the internet.
Horror. Yeah, it follows the standard horror movie rating of if it wasn't Get Out, it's a 2-star. If it's a 1-star, it's a nobody's gonna watch it.
Horror movies a fickle fan base, maybe a fickle genre.
Fickle genre. Yeah. The fan base is more forgiving. It's just a smaller base than I think people realize, especially for movies like this. Movie is
okay. I said that wrong. Maybe not the fan base, but the general movie-going public.
Yeah,
are a little less
definitely
forgiving or understanding.
It's become a point where, and we can talk about this at another something sometime.
On podcast.
Yeah, maybe
we should split them up.
Yeah, who knows?
I'll think about it.
But one of the things that is just horror in general. It's treated poorly by the general public, and so this movie is not bad. It's got some really good parts to it. It's a good story.
I'm actually pretty interested in it from what you said so far.
It's worth a watch. It's certainly not like it's not the worst. It's not bottom of the barrel horror. It's just not the best ghost story you've ever seen. It's not the best anything you've seen. It's very middle of the road, but totally like a worthwhile watch. Beth really liked it. She enjoyed the ghost story thing.
Storyline too, if you think about it, like the family coming to deal with real world loss through a haunting of sorts.
Yeah.
You can do it in a comedy with Beetlejuice. You can do it in even Get Out. You could say was that to some extent. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah. The Disappointment Dream. It's on Netflix. Check it out. And then I I wanted to watch something that I hadn't seen before, something funny, and I watched Central Intelligence. The Rock and Kevin Hart.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Exactly what I thought it was going to be, which there are some solid comedic bits in that movie, and there's some real dumb things in there too, like the whole setup for his character at the beginning.
Good dumb?
It can be. It really depends on how you're feeling at the time, I think. The whole opening of the movie, like the whole intro to the two characters is it's the Kevin Hart in high school is he's the big man on campus. He's the quarterback. He's dating everybody. He's the one that everybody is excited to see. Okay. And The Rock is not. The Rock is an overweight. They did some CGI.
Serious?
Yeah,
okay.
Like in his opening scene is him dancing to "No, You're Never Gonna Get It," like in the shower. So they've got CGI like The Rock, and then they've got a fat guy dancing naked in the shower, and then they push him out onto the basketball court in the middle of the assembly, and Kevin Hart's giving a speech, and Kevin Hart, his character, for the first time in movie history, goes, "Oh, this isn't cool," and gives him his jacket, and it's like, "Cover up, go take care of yourself." Like, dude, this isn't high school, whatever. And then they kind of build. Did
they get a different character for high school Kevin Hart? Or
they just gave him more hair. They gave him like a wig.
Joke about how? Oh, did they really?
Yeah. That's the best part.
Oh, okay,
they totally
excellent.
gave him more hair. Like it's.
They beat me to it.
It was
a joke about how small and young looking Kevin Hart
perfect.
Was. Wasted.
They can kind of continue on with a little bit of The Rock being a little too happy-go-lucky and like excited to meet his friend at the beginning, and then it kind of all shakes out and you get your basic story. It's cool. It's a funny movie, man. It's The Rock is real good in those action comedies, and like that is his bread and butter to me. Like
I think so. Yeah.
Even the Rundown is not necessarily the perfect comedy part, but I think all of the comedy they do there really hits, and that's kind of my perfect movie for him. Like I want to see more movies like The Rundown. Yep. This definitely airs closer to like The Pacifier. Like it kind of feels like that with which, if you've ever watched The Pacifier, cool.
Nope.
It's not Vin Diesel's worst movie, The Last Witch Hunter, but it's pretty funny. Yeah. So Central Intelligence,
man,
give it a go. There's not a whole lot to say about it.
I can't imagine you get surprised or anything. It's just kind of like, is it going to make me laugh a few times or something? That
whole movie top to bottom from the title and the cover. Right. And but it works. It fits. I understand why that movie did well at the box office.
Sure.
Especially when I was in high school, I would have loved that movie. That movie would have been one of those movies, and I'm like, yeah, we're watching that tonight, you know.
I remember when it came out too, we almost saw it in the theater because there was literally nothing else out at the time. Like that was a consideration at one point. It was like, oh, there's this. We ended up just not going to the movies, but
us too. And this isn't. We obviously have. You know, I'm just to finish out all this stuff. I'm very excited. We got our opening tickets to Wonder Woman for Friday night. So we're gonna.
Oh, you got into the female only.
I did.
showing,
Yeah. They're gonna be super pissed because I cut my hair, I think.
No, yeah, they'll stop you at the door. Just show them your photo from your license, and they'll be like, "Yeah, all right."
I'm very excited to see Wonder Woman. It's
me too. I'm excited to hear you see it. About it.
No, you're gonna hear me see it because I'm gonna call you and then just leave the phone line open.
Leave the spoke. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. What about you? What's your one movie?
Have you heard of Pete's Dragon?
I have.
Have you heard of the new one?
I have.
It's called Pete's Dragon.
Oh, haven't heard of that. Love the original though. Big fan of the original.
I can't remember the original. The dragon was animated, right?
Yes,
if I remember.
And that was a huge issue for me with this remake. Like I was very.
I'll be honest. I don't like the design of the dragon. Is that where you're going?
No. There was something. I don't. The only way I can put it is there's kind of something magical about that whole 2D, very bright, and that's what I want out of a Pete's Dragon story. And
it's not the same.
I still want to watch this one though. So tell me.
It's good. It's for sure good. Like it starts out really strong. Like there's this really cool intro, and they do some really nice touches with some pretty somber subject matter. Like the kid loses his parents and then gets lost in the wood, and the dragon takes care of him for the rest of it. Pretty much from there on out, it's what it is. Like they don't change the story terribly, and this story you've seen a zillion times also. Like somebody in the town wants to hunt him and shoot him. It happens to be Carl Urban this time, actually.
Good. Let Judge Dredd do his thing.
No mask, but
cheap.
Still very legendary. Still very urban legendary.
Urban legendary.
Carl
Urban Legend.
He's good. Bryce Dallas Howard, Robert Redford, like pretty good cast. They all totally do a fantastic job. Like it looks gorgeous. Like the whole design is very cohesive. Like it's very lumber. It's very soft. A lot of flannel.
Sure. Very Pacific Northwest.
Golden and warm. Yeah, it's super cool. It looks really good. I seriously don't like how the dragon looks. Like I wasn't kidding about that.
Sure.
But,
I believe you.
You get over it. You're just kind of like, well, they want him to be pretty fuzzy and, cuddly looking. I think it's cool when they do something that's not like that. Like they would have made him a lot more threatening or something like that.
Like the Hobbit. Like what's it, Smaug?
Yeah, there you go. Which Smaug was bad, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah,
pretty much.
Well, he's Benedict Cumberbatch, so I mean, however you want to.
Oh, so he was good.
Yeah,
take it back. Yes, this one. At no point. I mean, he gets a little loud sometimes, and he's trying to protect the kid and all that. So they still give a reason for the stupid people to want to shoot him, even though it's all a big misunderstanding or whatever. But
right.
You get over the design if you don't like it, anyways, because the rest of it is really good.
That's good.
The music is. You can kind of tell, like, there's a folk song in there that you can kind of tell. Like, the second I started hearing it, I was like, oh, that's right. There was a Peter Paul Mary song that went with the other one, wasn't there? And my wife's like, yeah. So I was like, okay.
And this one was, I'm trying to think, was it the Lumineers? I think did the song for it. I
didn't check.
It was somebody wrote a song specifically for the movie, and
it's fine.
Yeah, sure.
Like, it's good. It's good stuff, but it was just funny because at one point I was like, oh, that's right. There's supposed to be a folk song with this movie.
That's right. It's funny. You mentioned that, and I just remembered something else we watched this week, and I'm not going to go into it, but
nope.
Soundtracks can absolutely make or kill a movie. You have a bad soundtrack, you can throw things off, and one of the best soundtracks I think of all time was Singles, and we watched Singles this weekend. For Chris Cornell and all that, and yeah.
Is he in that movie?
Yeah, and he's got
just his music.
And he's in the movie for like a brief bit, and then
so it's as himself. He's not
yeah. No, he's
character acting or anything. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But also his movie
that seems like a fine way to remember Chris Cornell, actually.
It was good. It features Sun Shower, which is my favorite Chris Cornell song. It's like all through the movie, and the rest of the soundtrack was all written by Paul Westerberg, and I just can't get past the fact that I think more and more I get to a point where I think he's possibly the greatest American songwriter in my life. So,
all right. I should double feature Airheads and Singles someday.
That would be actually a really fun double feature, because you go from something that's a little more serious that has like a real world tones to it to Airheads. Or other way around. I'm not sure.
Yes, Pete's Dragon is very good, and you should watch it.
So was when you mentioned the soundtrack, was it just kind of like this is so cheesy? Was it that?
No,
thing,
it's still good. And it's obviously more contemporary folk than, trying to recreate a Peter, Paul, and Mary song, which would have been objectively worse, probably. Yeah, so
certainly.
It's good. It was just anytime something tries to check off a box or paint by the numbers, I'm immediately, kind of
suspect.
I will give that a double thought. Yeah, for sure. So no, this is good.
Cool.
That's it.
Yeah, we also just very I thought I was going to play video games all weekend and not.
Well, it sounds like you did, kind of.
I didn't even
or video game.
Yeah,
maybe not video games.
I played a decent amount of Injustice, not a ton of it. I mean, there's not.
Oh, okay.
It was a lot of little going back into the multiverse, doing a one-off or fight here or there, a couple fights, 3 or 4, and then walking away from it. So it was never I never sat down and was there for more than 40 minutes at most. It
sounds like that might be something that game is good for, though.
Oh, it's great. The multiverse stuff is up in the air with that. Depends on which one you're doing and what you're trying for. Some of the multiverse rewards, because the multiverse, the each of the worlds is timed. Some of them you either are making the decision: do I want to go for the whole thing? Am I just going to get the one piece? Am I going to get 2 pieces? What am I going to do? Some of them work that way. Others are, it was whatever. I found
it tells you what you're going to get a piece of armor in a certain family, but it doesn't tell you what piece.
It depends.
Pretty much.
It just depends on the multiverse. Some of them are they'll be character specific, and no, it'll tell you this is the one of the first ones I did was for Atrocitus. So you could get you do the first one, you got an Atrocitus head, and then the next one it was his arm, and the next one it was a leg.
I feel like I asked you this last week.
You probably did.
Deja vu right now.
But this weekend, yesterday, the day before, I'm not sure when it went live. I think it was yesterday. They updated one of the multiverses to it's like a 7 or 8 day long thing, and it's in preparation for Wonder Woman. So you go through the multiverse. There's only 6 or 4 or 6. I don't remember. 4 or 6 towers in that particular world that you have to go through, and each one has one piece of her armor. You go through and you get all the armor that's from the movie, so it's all based on that, and it's got stats specific. Cool. So I was doing that. I went through that all the way through until the last part, and I'm having a lot of trouble there because it's significantly harder than the rest of it. And you've got to level up. It's fine. I've got 6 more days to go, and I'm gonna go back and get it. I'm gonna finish it. So this is a part where in the multiverse level matters and gear matters. So I'm in a situation now where I haven't leveled Wonder Woman up too much. She is now at level 11, I think, and the last fight is just one fight against Cheetah, and Cheetah actually only has 1 health bar. She doesn't even have the full pair. But she's significantly more difficult. So I've gotten her down to about 3/4 left, down, and then she
got 3/4 down.
Yeah.
You got her down to 1/4.
I've gotten her down to 1/4. That's a better way of saying it.
You got her down to 3/4 after all this. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty consistently getting her down halfway at level 10 and 11 without great gear. So it's doable. I just need to learn more, and in some of these cases it's definitely you're playing a little cheap. You're playing the keep away thing just to keep as much health as you can. And
I'm always playing cheap. So it sounds like you can stop and like go gear up or get some other gear or go somewhere else and then come back? Like try and level yourself up and then go back and fight her again? Or are you stuck in the...
No.
Okay.
So with all of the multiverse things, like you can do each tower section. So the multiverses have multiple sections per instance. And so you go through 4, 5, 6 different fights to get the things. And sometimes it's just, it's currency or it's a mother box or it's a regen token, whatever. But yeah, you can go through, and as long as that particular multiverse is still in time, it's still running. Whatever you've completed. You can go back to it and pick right back up. So I can go back today, and I just have to fight Cheetah again. I don't have to do the other like 5
That's
things.
Cool.
It's cool. It's fun. And then I found out about the AI battle simulator, which is just stupid novel to me. I think that the point of this was to help you level your characters because there are so many and it's, ultimately get to level 20 with all of them. That's what you want to do. And this is a case where you set up 3 fighters that you want as your defenders, whatever ones you want, and you let them go, and then people will log in and they'll choose to or not choose to fight your guys. There's like a list of everybody who's got their defenders ready, and you go, and then when you choose the person you want to fight, you choose 3 attackers. It can be the same as your defenders. It doesn't matter. You choose your fighters, and then it just goes and it fights on its own. And you...
Oh, no kidding.
And they level up. They do things. You get mother boxes if you win. You get mother boxes actually if you lose too, I think. And I've been sat there for 10, 15 minutes, just kind of chose some people, leveled them all up, whatever. It's cool. And you can fast forward too, so it's really fun. Because you get them going like 4 times the speed, and when the Flash is going 4 times the speed, and you're just watching health bars go, it's pretty novel. It's fun.
That's bizarre. I guess you're having fun with it, but that seems strange that somebody would put like something like that in the game.
Like I said, I think it's a way to level up your characters. It's certainly not faster than doing it by playing them, but some of the characters,
they're like a reduced XP gain.
I assume so. It just doesn't seem like it's moving as quickly, but it also may be based
that makes
on
a little more sense.
It may also be based on the levels of the characters. So maybe my character level is too high to get a ton of experience, depending on, and you can see what character levels they have. So you can base your decisions off of it. I think you get more XP if you have a lower level character and you win, etc., which makes sense.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I do. I
Cool.
think I honestly think it's there to just kind of let you level up easily without having to play characters you don't want to play.
Oh, that would make sense.
Yeah. So
cool.
Injustice 2. Played some more of the mobile. There's nothing to add there. Just doing that to get the daily stuff.
There sure isn't, as in they haven't added the rest of the story mode. So I might just YouTube so we can finally have that talk next week. YouTube it. BoomTube it. iTube, yeah.
BoomTube.
MeTube.
And then you and I we did the for the stream last week. We played some Forza Horizon 3 Hot Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
That
Hot Wheels expansion.
That's a great expansion.
It is. It's immediately attractive because it's Hot Wheels in the very realistic looking Forza game, so that is cool for sure. I guess I was it's something like that you kind of expect to be wacky kind of right off the bat, like maybe or a little more wacky than it has been. And they do have you like flying through fire hoops and kind of stuff like that, but it's very much a Forza Horizon 3 expansion. Like there's similar goals, you're running between different races and you're on the tracks. I realized I had maybe unrealistic expectations, and also that Forza Horizon 3 stuff is still really good, it always has been. So and
I agree. I think as far as expansions and gameplay for Forza goes, it's fantastic. It is. I am in a similar boat with you where there are some things I kind of wished were a little different. It's actually kind of that same discussion we had about the tiny races for GTA, where you're taking something and you're putting it in the way that this game inherently uses it, and you're not changing that. You're just adding the skin to it. And while that's very, very cool, and it's great. I'm having fun with it. There is an aspect of this, where you kind of want that GTA goofiness to it. I guess, you know, it's like, it's not GTA goofiness in like the sense that it's Grand Theft Auto, just like
a little more arcadey,
fun, a little more, like just airy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Like the touches they've done to it are still really cool. Like I said, it looks cool that it's in that world, but also the speed boosts on the actual track, like, are tied to motors that are running, and it looks like a rubber belt, you know, like on a Hot Wheels track. So it's cool.
I think my only complaint with the actual thing, like from internal to Forza, is that they tune those cars for crap. Like the initial Hot Wheels tunings just suck. They're just bad.
I never ended up tuning anything in the main game. So
No. Just based off of what's there, the fact that they're all like A classes and they're just not
that's true. So wait, there's no S class.
Well, I don't know. I didn't see none that were free, anyways.
Maybe towards the end, I guess.
But yeah, and one of the things that does kind of suck, and this came up with you multiple times, it came up with me the first time, is that because the cars have no torque, they have no engine, they've got no guts, there are spots where if you kind of get tossed off the edge of one of the Hot Wheels tracks, you might get placed in a spot where no matter how many times you try and reset yourself, you're not far enough back to make it around the track. Getting all the way around a loop-de-loop.
Watch the stream. I got stuck pretty well. I did finally figure out how to get there, but I had to like turn around, because the problem was there was a boost directly behind me, and if I hit the boost, it would throw me off the edge because the track breaks right before that. So I had to find a way to like hit the boost and then put on the brakes enough so that I could not go off the edge, and then turn around and then get the boost, and then I could take the loop. But yeah, go watch the stream. It's great. Do that for a good 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, and that was it. That's all I actually got to play.
Technically, right?
Technically,
we also kind of played together Friday the 13th, the game, which is out.
There was an attempt.
Did you make it into a game?
No.
Oh, really?
I sat at quick play for, at my longest, I think 10 minutes, and never went anywhere. At no point was I able to get into any games. Yeah. And I didn't try yesterday, which I guess they did. All weekend they've been having problems. Wes Kelter or Keltner, I can't remember what his last name is exactly.
We don't.
It's Wes Kelter. He and Randy Greenback, both fellas that work for Gun Media, who developed the game, they've been making Facebook posts and explaining what's been going on. So there's been database
communication, at least.
There has been communication. They have database issues and all sorts of other problems that were very, very, very aggravating and frustrating to me as a tech person, because I read what they wrote and it just does not sit well with me. Because they failed on some pretty basic levels. This is stuff that even just based on what they wrote, exactly what this is not hyperbole. This is based on the exact wording he said. Much of the things he says are things that I have had to do in my professional career. And I actually talked about it with Sean, because he's in the same boat, Sliptide. And both of us were like, yeah, they screwed up monumentally by not being prepared for a launch. And you know, so the communications are out there, that they're going to keep going back to we're a really small team. I was
going to say, a lot of it sounds like small team woes,
and on some level, that's I understand that.
Some level, yeah.
However, the fact that they did not properly set themselves up for a successful, or even a remotely successful launch, is disappointing and frustrating to me, because, again, this is all stuff that could have been figured out.
You've been a champion for this game too. Like,
it's all stuff they could have figured this stuff out weeks before, months before. This is not hard to know this information, and that's the worst part.
Are you open for freelance? Have you gotten in contact?
Yeah, they couldn't afford me. I've already had those discussions.
To be honest, none of us can.
No, I'm still a champion for the game. I didn't get to play it this weekend, but I watched some streams here and there, and
people are getting into it. I got into one, and you've been into some throughout the alpha.
Yeah, I played the beta.
Or beta even,
I played the beta, yeah.
So I'll tell you my experience. You can help me get through it or tell me what's up.
Probably not.
I did get into a game. I started matchmaking on a silver account, funny enough, and it never booted me out. So I don't know if it's free play weekend or what they're doing exactly, but I got into a game after about 4 minutes. So still not that bad, but not, it's the longest matchmaking I've been in a long time, but still whatever, you get into a game, and I am really willing to give them a lot, knowing that they are a small team and etc.
Well, we went to the panel. You saw their enthusiasm for the game too. I mean, there's
I know
no question. This is not them trying to. They're not doing any of this maliciously. They love this.
Or this isn't Ubisoft, trying to get their game out before Q2 so they can make money or something.
Although
like that,
I will say one of the things that does, especially based on this launch and what I've read, I do wonder if they didn't rush this out a little bit to beat Dead by Daylight, which is ostensibly the same game. And game is it's out on PC. It's coming to Xbox, I think, in June.
Oh.
And I think that definitely played a part in it.
That would make some sense.
Still
same argument in the end. Doesn't matter. You released more harm than good maybe at this point, right? I mean, I guess somebody in there probably did the math, but anyways, I did get into a game. Immediately there's a countdown timer. Even after I've match made for 4 or 5 minutes, there's a countdown timer for like a full 2 minutes or something like that. 4 minutes, 5 minutes. It's a ridiculous countdown timer. I don't know if there's stuff going on in the background or what. It doesn't matter anyways, because 2 of the people refused to ready up. So we just had to wait that full thing out anyways. And then you actually get into the game and there's another countdown, I guess. There's a lot of countdowns.
Yeah, well, they want you to be excited.
But I did get in.
Oh my God.
And I will say that the music, I think, is maybe one of the best parts of the game. Like it has a real analog feel to it that's very effective.
All written by Harry Manfredini, who did the original score.
It's done really well. But so I got into a game. Ended up as a counselor, went to the first house I saw, opened the door, immediately was like, oh, can I close this behind me? Because obviously he's going to know that I've been in here if the door's open. Took me a bit. The detection's a little hinky. You have to get, it took me a while to get to the doorknob in a way that it was gave me the prompt
that
to close the door.
you got the...
But then I started looking in all the dressers. I found a pocket knife. I found keys to the car, I think, which kind of, some of this was clicking off. I was like, oh yeah, there's some amount of cooperation between the other counselors that needs to happen, right, for some effective escaping or...
I mean, ultimately, Jason. If you want to effectively escape, you kind of have to work with other people. You don't have to, but it really helps.
Okay. So I got those things, and then I went into this little the next room in this cabin, and I was looking through some other stuff, and I found one other thing. But then I accidentally went inside a closet, got out of the closet, and then looked around the corner and saw the front door was open. So I was like, oh crap. Super effective as far as that goes. I was like, is there another counselor in here or what? So then I peek around the corner some more, and Jason is stabbing the bed, because you can hide under the bed, right? And I was like, crap. So I run back to the closet, get in the closet, and you can press B to hold your breath, but I'm guessing he must have seen or heard me. I've never done Jason, so I don't know what all he can hear. Would he have heard my steps if I went quickly or something like that?
Very likely, yeah. He almost certainly, yeah.
Okay, so I got back into the closet, but he came right to me and stabbed me. I was the first one to die. So,
so no, you're running into. I mean, that pretty much the exact experience I had my first game. I think was what am I doing? Everything is press the button E on, because I was playing on PC at the time. Right. And so running is bad. You can't run a ton because
I couldn't figure out how to run. Is it a separate button, or you just?
I'm guessing. Yeah, I think I had to hold down Shift. I don't remember. I haven't played on the.
I'll try that on my Xbox.
Yeah. So if you run, Jason you're more apt to be seen and heard by Jason. The other thing with this game that's important is you kind of want to be in game chat as opposed to in a party, because the game chat is distance based for everybody, including Jason. And there are CB radios or walkie-talkies that you can pick up.
Oh, that's the other thing I found. Yeah, I found a walkie-talkie.
So if you have a walkie-talkie and you use the walkie-talkie, Jason can't hear you unless he's right next to you. Like, he can't hear the conversation, obviously. So that's a bonus thing that you kind of do want. But Jason can hear you talking. He can see if a cabin is occupied by, like, it'll turn red for him when he turns on one of his things, but he doesn't know exactly where you are in the cabin. So he has to make decisions on what he wants to do. So
that was my other question, because there are different places you can hide in a cabin. Can he just go through? Because when I saw him stabbing the bed, I assumed it's just he went up to it and it was like, stab the bed, or something like that.
It doesn't give him a prompt. It doesn't give him a prompt that somebody's under there. It just lets him know he can attack it, go for it. And if he's doing that, he can
go from hiding place to hiding place, just stabbing them if he wants.
If he wants to, it's a waste of his time. The more time he gives the counselors, the more chance they have to escape. So I guess, okay. And that's, at this point, that wasn't a concern. Right.
I don't think any of us were getting there, but I guess, once the game gets farther along, people know what they're doing.
He can definitely run through everything in a cabin and stab stuff, but that doesn't mean that, like, if there's an upstairs to the cabin and he stabs everything downstairs, you can go back downstairs and hide in there, and it's.
Oh, okay, all right. I guess that makes.
But he has some stuff going for him that makes him very powerful, and ultimately, you're not supposed to get away. It's never the point. The point isn't necessarily to get away. It's have fun trying to get away, have fun being stealthy, and the game is a lot of stealth. It's a lot of talking to your other counselors, unless you're going to screw them over. The keys to the car, for example, you have the keys, which makes you probably the best person in that grouping of people. But you can't do anything unless somebody puts gas in the car, and I think you got to add spark plugs to it or something. And then you can start the car, or the battery.
And I do want to talk about that but to finish out my play, because this is when it gets really scary. Check this out.
Okay.
It put me into spectator mode, which seemed to work well enough, except overall, the game is buggy as hell at the moment.
Yeah.
And I could spectate one dude who none of his walking animations were working, so he was just and I clipped it, so I'll put it out there, but he was just floating, and he would like float through walls and like around there. And then I saw one girl kneel down to do the electrical box on the outside of a cabin.
Yeah, that you can repair that. That's another way to get out, is to repair stuff. Jason
walks right by her, didn't even touch her. And then the guy who was walking around weird got frozen, and Jason walked right by him. Didn't even touch him. Can he see the counselors if they're directly in front of him?
Oh yeah. There's
okay.
So here are some of the issues that are kind of plaguing the game right now.
Well, I was going to say, I think it might, because right after that it kicked me. It said connection timeout, actually. Like I had been idle for too long.
Oh yeah.
I was a freaking spectator. So I don't know. Like I think what had happened is that the game had already disconnected, and I was just seeing like random continuations maybe or something.
Very possible. There is a known issue, and I think it's on all the platforms, but there's a known clipping issue that like you can glitch yourself and clip and move faster if you're not Jason. There are a number of bugs that in those Facebook posts they've talked about. The biggest ones being not being able to save progress, not.
Oh yeah, and once I got booted, I got no XP.
Right, not being able to. There's just a whole lot of issues with the game right now. It's pretty.
Which
broken.
is unfortunately kind of what I was afraid of, like from the beginning. Not in. For every game nowadays, but still for a game like this, I was like, I didn't even know the Dead by Daylight thing, but that makes a lot more sense that they might be on some sort of self-imposed deadline, but.
And what's funny, man, is like I feel like it's buggier now than it was in beta. Like I don't know. I've read some rumors, and I like commenting on rumors because I like to believe this that there was a screw up, at least with the Microsoft build, that it's an old build that was never supposed to be released. And
would make sense because there was no beta for this version, right?
And
it was just a PC beta.
And supposedly, and a couple of people have noted, and again, all rumor. I just fuel to the fire because I like to burn things to the ground. that the version that's actually up on Xbox Live right now, or available for Xbox download, is the beta. It's a late beta, which could make sense. But there's supposed to be some patches coming down that are going to fix a whole bunch of those problems.
I'm sure there will. Like, I actually have faith in the team to kind of make this right eventually. I just might not play it until then.
It's possible.
Which can be a death knell in a lot of ways for a game like this.
If Evolve had this kind of launch with these problems, that game would have died way sooner. And I mean, that game had its problems as it is, but.
And I mean, for me especially, like, the single player mode, which I think they are calling a campaign. I don't know if that's editorializing from an outlet or not, but the single player portion of this is coming out in
I'm really looking forward to the single player portion. I think it's gotta be real great.
Single player portion of this thing is coming out this summer still. I'm not a big multiplayer guy anyway, so I would probably be a lot more excited with this if I could get into, and I know it seems stupid to want to play this game with bots anyways, but as with Evolve, when I played with bots, like, that game was still strong enough and enough of a balancing act that there was a lot to appreciate there. And I think I can almost see that here too. Like, I can see what could be great about this game still, even with all this stuff, for sure.
Yeah, and I like... At one point, Wes Keltner, and I think it more than once, I know I've read this, I like the fact that they're not pushing this as you're even mentioning, try and be competitive with your fellow players. This isn't about that. They've been pushing the whole have fun, enjoy the fact that you're playing a game based on a movie where everybody dies, and maybe you get to change that for a minute, but probably not. And that the idea of this game is to have fun in a very unique environment with very unique characters and all that. And I like that. And that's kind of one of the things that's drawing me to the game and drawing me back to it and will push me to play it after, and allow me to stick with it even after all of this shenanigans.
Yeah, no, I completely missed that, to be honest. Like, I didn't know they were going so much for that. That seems like and I guess we'll see how much they've actually latched onto it, but that seems like an ethos that would do a whole lot for this game. Like, because Evolve was extremely competitive focused. Like, they wanted to turn that thing into an esport. I don't know. I don't have as much experience with Dead by Daylight, so maybe they're somewhere along this same line, but to say that they're kind of interested less in the competitive aspect is not only, I think, super interesting for me with this property, especially because horror movies are voyeuristic, like, almost by nature. Like that's a strong element of that genre. Mm-hmm. And if they're trying to push something here that's not so much like, see if you can survive or see if you can do this, it's more of, become a voyeur, like, have fun watching, even if it's, you're still participating in a way because it's a game, obviously. But
right. That
sounds super cool. Like, if they lean into that super heavily, which, I mean, I guess a lot of it makes sense. Like, I see a lot pointing to the fact that, I think they are actually.
And I feel like that's the one thing that's the main reason behind the keeping you in the game after you've died. It's that, okay, you died, watch the rest of the movie.
Yeah, and I was totally into that too until I got booted for inactivity.
Do the survivors get Tommy Jarvis? Does he come out and kill Jason? Does Jason finally kill Tommy Jarvis? Do they get the cops and get away? How many get away? Those are cool little things for me. I like it.
It's smart, and I mean, I want to see this game do well for that at least. So
yeah,
we'll continue to keep an eye on it. I think this week we should try a 1v1 too. Just so I can kind of, because that's the thing without the single player mode. Also, I didn't know what I was doing at all.
No,
in the least.
And believe me, I only got to play Jason twice, I think, during the beta. So I don't have a ton of experience. So
we should 1v1 it and mess around with stuff, dink around with stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's give it a shot. See if we can do that.
Okay. Man, segues to the news are always so stupid.
This is one of those times when I feel like there should be some song here where it's just from around the world, the video game world, news you can't use.
The big news item of the week, maybe Far Cry 5.
Very cool trailer.
And we've talked about Far Cry 5, I think 2 weeks in a row now, because they've been kind of trickling this stuff out. So we don't need to get too deep into that. Yeah, it's taking place in Montana.
You bash people's heads into church bells.
With people. Mm-hmm. It's basically a cult leader, and it sounds like you're fighting this cult leader who's
leading cults.
Yeah. Garnered a foothold in Middle America.
I bet he's a big Counting Crows fan.
So there's a big write-up on this on Polygon, actually. I don't know if you got too deep into that one. And I don't know if there's similar write-ups everywhere, actually, or if this was
the write-up about how this is terrifying and all that. Is that the one you're talking about, where it's I'm concerned about this game and what it could mean and blah blah blah.
Well, it's super interesting because they get into it with the lead, Dan Hay.
That's him.
Over at Ubisoft Montreal.
Yeah, the lead, Dan Hay.
But
good guy.
Hay. Every time me and my wife go somewhere too and we drive by a field with hay, which there's a ton around here, I'll just be like, hey. And she'll be like, what? And I'll just say it again until finally she looks the other way and she's like, dang it. So stupid. This is
that she tries to punch you.
So Far Cry 5, what this write-up does is it does give you some background, but it also talks about the history of kind of the production of the game. And the way they talk about it was that they've had this idea for a while, but they've never quite felt right, which grain of salt and all that as far as that goes.
Right.
We're deep into the marketing at this point. But the way he talks about it was that with the most recent events, and not even just, Trump or whatever, but with the crash of 2008 and just people kind of, again, turning to the government and being like, I think his actual words are, where is the government, or where are you guys, or what the heck's going on? And turning this into that story, and this is the big question we asked last time anyways, was, it's just always if they pull it off. If this is another Far Cry game where they Far Cry the story, essentially, you could use as a verb, then it's gonna suck, whatever. If they find a way to make this meaningful or with enough care, or if the content is somehow emphasized by the medium, by actually putting this in a game.
Sure.
If they pull it off, it'll be great.
Yeah,
but
sure. I like the general conceit of this. I like the idea that it's back in it's in the good old USA. I like that it's a cult. I'm a fan of cultist things.
That's true. You are. This is right up your alley, kind of.
We mentioned it last week. I played Far Cry 4 mostly. I never finished it. I just recently finished Blood Dragon. Post that actually, within the last year, I suppose. So the co-op campaign that makes a difference. They announced that there's going to be an online co-op campaign, so that's kind of cool. And that is ultimately going to be kind of the decider for me. This won't be a game, I don't think, that I will get to play single player because I'll never finish it. But if I've got somebody to do the co-op with, like if you choose, you're like, yeah, okay, the game finally, it's been long enough, I can do it. Might be a game that I'm like, yeah, all right, let's bash through the co-op and do the campaign stuff and see what we get.
I'm looking at it a little harder every single day. Like some of the stuff they released with it was a trailer, and these 3 kind of vignettes that attach to different characters in the game. One of them's a preacher. One of them's a bartender. The last guy is kind of like looks like a crop duster, small town airplane operator. He's Randy Quaid from ID4.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they're giving you characters that are still of that area and time. Like they're the ones like, how can you be a hero? In the end, it's basically like, who is the enemy? I don't know. It asks some questions that I shouldn't get too deep into, and I'll stop talking about.
Fair enough. I am looking forward to seeing what comes of this. It comes out February 27th of 2018, the year of our Lord. So we should have some time to figure out if this is going to get delayed or not. And
Hey, so Battlefield 1 is getting some girls on the field, some bikini babes. Are you ready?
Bikini babes, also known as the Women's Battalion of Death.
Oh.
Literally what they were called from the Russian front. The women's.
Might have been looking at the wrong webpage here. Let me see.
The Women's Battalion of Death. Yeah, Battlefield 1 in the name of the T-SAR. I don't know what a T-SAR is, but
it's from Resident Evil.
Got it. That makes sense. It's the progenitor of the T-virus, the T-SAR.
SAR, T-S-A-R. You might see more often spelled C-Z-A-R. Actually, the Eastern version of the word Caesar. Right? There you go.
Doesn't make sense.
They wanted their rulers. Yeah, no, don't worry about it.
I never considered that it was the Eastern Bloc of version of Caesar.
It is,
That's
yeah.
funny.
No.
That makes perfect
I
sense.
went to school for 4 years. That's the one thing I remember.
I went to school.
For that degree for 4 years.
Okay, because I went to a school. Like, it was just whatever. School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Women's Battalion of Death. Yeah, this looks good.
It looks. I just still love the touches that they seem to be putting on all this stuff.
Yeah, I get. It's again. I go back to it's the same thing I said before. I do wish this was that one where I wish you hadn't. Battlefield 4 wasn't the one. I wish it was.
Did
this
you
one.
say that before?
I have said it before.
I'll go check it out.
You could go listen to previous podcasts. We've made multiples of them. There's like hundreds. Or 100 plus.
Soon to make twice as many.
Gun running.
GTA Online has released another update, which we found out about it before the day it came out, so I figured we should probably talk about it. But yeah, the gun running update.
Yeah. Oh, there was what is it? What are you talking about?
You're talking about actual gun running.
You know what?
Fault.
Arms trafficking is the way of the future, my friend.
That seems like a questionable. I mean,
Okay, look. I am halfway through the movie War Dogs, and all I know is that they make a lot of money selling guns. So
that seems dangerous for the animals.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Dogs with guns, it's better than sharks with lasers, and that's stupid and Austin Powers. So
it's a confusing issue. I see now why.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it.
Gunrunners, GTA 5, you can traffic illegal arms by taking root in the southern part of San Andreas. You could buy bases beneath the ground in Blaine County via in-game Maze Bank foreclosure website. You can set up shop and produce military vehicles and manufacture weapons. Basically, you could do gun running. That's the title of it.
Okay.
And so
yeah.
I think it's...
You can also armor up your vehicle.
You could be Nicolas Cage in Lord of War.
I haven't seen that movie. Was that Gore Verbinski? No, that was a Weatherman. Movies. It's a separate podcast. Keep it in your pants. So there's been an image that came out. We're nearing E3 here, and they're just going to get more numerous.
Yeah, images.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Just I can't
think about it.
I open my eyes. Images. Internet images.
What's going on?
What are we doing?
Mario and Rabids Kingdom Battle. There's an image that came out, and it's disturbing on a lot of levels, but maybe so. Mario's got a gun, which
he should always have.
I mean, it looks like a Mega Buster, but still, it's a gun. It's got to be a first. When does Mario had a gun?
Look, well, Super Mario Sunshine, if you really want to get pedantic about it, I mean, that's kind of a gun. It was a water gun.
The Rabids are dressed up like Peach and Luigi, but Peach and Luigi are also there. But, the Rabids, you kind of never know what...
They're crazy.
What are they? Yeah, right?
They're silly.
What are they doing anyways?
We don't even know what they are. They're Rabids.
They don't know what they are. They're scary.
Mario.
There's been like a zillion leaks about it anyways. This is the first image that came out.
Yeah. Mario and Rabids. Hey, go teams.
That's honestly the extent that I thought of our commentary on that. I actually thought. So by way of update then, we talked about Square Enix letting IO Interactive go.
I'll never forget it.
There's been a question, I thought, or just by me, that was the Hitman property going with them? Yeah. I thought you read something that it was.
And my understanding was that IO Interactive owned the license and they were getting the license or keeping the license from Square.
It sounds like not entirely.
Yeah.
Square Enix, by way of some information that got out, I don't think they actually announced this. They mentioned that they'd be willing, like they're fine giving the Hitman the rights to Hitman with whoever gets IO Interactive. Which is,
I mean, say what you will about companies, they're all awful and everybody who runs them are terrible people because all they're interested in profit. But it's nice. It is nice for them to go, for Square Enix to understand that IO Interactive is not valuable without that property.
Hitman, yeah.
And 100%, this is based on we're willing to sell you the company and the property because we know that they go together. But if somebody were to come along and go, okay, can we just get the property and we'll give you the same amount of money or more? There's no question in my mind that Square Enix would say, yes. Really? Absolutely.
Let's think about how extremely heartless that would be to to kick IO to the curb especially knee deep in season 2 of Hitman, they have to be
To be the best
at this point, right?
Oh man.
To kick them to the curb and be like, sorry, but we're either keeping Hitman or putting that with somebody else. Like, oh man.
If you don't like Schadenfreude as much as I do, I can't help you.
Oh, I couldn't even. No, that wouldn't even. Too much.
Yep. Okay. So from here on out, boycott Square Enix.
It would totally lead to a boycott. Like that's something that does not. Square Enix would probably survive, but still.
But you would never buy another game.
Bad idea. I haven't. That I would retroactively call me not having bought a Square Enix game since Deus Ex on the 360. I would call that a boycott.
Sure. That's good. I'm glad.
And then I'd go get Human Revolution, and then
Yeah, but you'd get that used and buy it from somebody, so you're not giving them any money. Yeah.
And I would just shove it. Yep, right in their face.
Right.
Look at that.
I bought it. I spent $59.99. I bought it for my friend used. Suck it.
Now who's the idiot?
Yeah, dummies.
Okay, what else? Xbox Game Pass is launching June 1st. If you're a normie, I can go do it right now if I want. Are you on the Xbox Insider? I can't remember.
I'm so inside.
Oh,
I'm
way inside.
Dude, I'm an Xbox Live Diamond member, my friend.
Dang, yeah. I keep forgetting. You're
Watch
right.
out. Watch how you speak to me. I've got a card.
I saw the thing pop up for this. If it's like join up now, you get your 14-day free trial because we were on the Insider. I don't know if doing that would have been valuable at all. So I didn't do it. I can't imagine. Like I imagine I would have joined, downloaded a game, because that's the big difference with this one, right? Is that you not physically, you can.
You physically, digitally.
Yes, get the game. Whereas, the PS Now is a streaming service or whatever. I didn't think there would be any value to me checking that out to the point of downloading a game and saying, yep.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You ever downloaded a game before? Through Xbox Live?
Yes.
Has it worked afterwards?
Mostly.
Game Pass.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I've retroactively also been on Xbox Games Pass.
Yeah, dude, you are retro, and I love it. I have some questions about this that are not answered in their like FAQ thing.
What you got? I'll get you.
Okay, one of the things they talk about is that, and you've already mentioned it, is that it's all downloads, and they've actually said that if you have the storage, you can download everything.
Yes.
They've also said there's no online verification for the games. So
no online always mode.
So how does that work? Is it totally tied to your, like, how do they know that you're no longer?
So here at Xbox Games Pass, the Kinect still has camera, and we can see also microphones. So it's kind of, we take the work out of it for you.
Okay. I don't know that answered it, but I like it. Let's go with it. I
would imagine there's some check. Like it's got to check at, at least once a month.
I am fascinated by how that will work, though, because with the flat out statement of no always online check, I wonder if maybe it's you boot up the game, it validates, and that's it. And if you don't have it, then nothing. But it says you can play it offline too. So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it just validates. Well, I mean, that would make sense if you download the game through the Xbox Game Pass app or something like that, or hub, then that's your check right there. If you can't just go into the game store and it looks like you own all these things.
Okay, yeah, maybe it's like Netflix, right? So then it's like if you so it's an app unto itself that holds the start.
I just made it up.
I like it. Let's go. I like it. That's how it works, everybody. We just decided. So if it doesn't work that way, take it to Microsoft and tell them to fix it the way we told them to.
Mm-hmm. And also on the Microsoft corner of things, Beam. Remember we looked at that and used it for the first time like a week ago?
Dude, I remember Beam. It was so cool. I love Beam.
I know, right?
I want to use Beam more in the future.
So it's been renamed Mixer.
Well, don't want to use it anymore. I don't like that name.
It's more international, according to executives.
I think that one of these people watched Hard Day's Night and they heard Paul say to the guy who's playing their tour manager about his grandfather, he's a villain, a real mixer. That's what I think what happened.
It took a while to get there, but I'm glad we did, and I appreciate it.
I like Hard Day's Night. It's my favorite Beatles movie.
I have 8 Days a Week queued up for some time now.
That's the Ron Howard one, right?
Yeah. I think it's strictly about their touring or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've heard it's good from my mom.
I like the Beatles.
Still knows John's birthday, so I guess grain of salt.
I know when he died.
There was that thing. They thought John was replaced with a clone, a look-alike.
No, that was Paul.
Not too long ago. Paul? Was that's
Paul
what I
is
meant.
dead.
Paul, that was part of it.
It was, Paul is dead. John's actually
dead. Too. Or is he?
Well, questionable.
George Harrison, secret best Beatle?
There was no secret there.
Okay.
No, not even a question for me. Well, I'm glad we talked about that out of nowhere.
So I mentioned this Microsoft stuff because we did test out Beam for a project we have in the works. But some of the stuff, we definitely were. Some of the stuff they're introducing with this, they're introducing co-op or co-streaming, I think, something like that, which allows you to put 2 different streams from 2 different people on the screen at the same time. All possible because one of the main things they tout, they call this interactive streaming. They make a big deal that there's less than a second worth of latency.
We'll prove them wrong.
Yeah, we'll mess it up for you.
How do you work with?
So yeah, that's interesting because you might see it on 0 hit points in some way.
How do you work with 2 different VPNs running and no Wi-Fi signal? Well,
so Mixer doesn't have an offline option. Is that what you're?
I don't know.
Go with Games Pass.
Go with Games Pass. Go with Games Pass to the no, that's not gonna work.
No.
The lightning round.
Hey, it's your turn. Are you ready? There's no time on the clock, but you have to answer.
There's 30
in
seconds
a way,
on the clock.
All of these small news items that don't warrant more than a couple seconds. Are you
because
ready?
This is the lightning round.
Wow, late title card. I like it.
I forgot to roll my R.
In Japan, all production and shipments of the PlayStation 3 have now ended.
In the United States, that's not news.
Fair. Learn English. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay. The creator of Seaman has hinted that there may be more Seaman in the works. Am I saying that right?
You're not saying it wrong because you're saying it right.
Hello Neighbor is coming to Xbox One on August 29th.
Oh, hi, neighbors.
Man, you might have got those all right.
I didn't.
Good thing games are coming up in the upcoming games segment.
I am excited for Titanfall 2's Monarch's Reign because they're finally doing the Venture Brothers crossover I've been waiting for that I didn't know I wanted, but forever.
I know that's a character in that show.
Yes, I am the Monarch.
That DLC actually looks. I'm asking some questions about it because it's the name of the new Titan is Monarch. It comes with a new Titan and a new map. I think the map is actually a redo, but his special ability is the Upgrade Core, which allows you to upgrade him in steps on the field. Yeah.
I didn't see that part.
One of his special abilities allows him to siphon power from nearby Titans to put towards his shield.
The game looks great, man. They've been putting out all the DLC stuff looks great. It definitely it definitely makes me want to play it, but I'm not going to.
No, me neither. But those things seem like significant changes. They seem like real strategic.
Yeah.
Like the different powers and stuff like that. I mean, I haven't kept tabs, so maybe there's more like this in the new stuff they've done. But this seems kind of like a departure that I'm interested in listening and then mentioning right now.
Yeah. So Titanfall 2's Monarch's Reign DLC came out yesterday, along with Mafia 3's Stones Unturned DLC, which had kind of a. Did you watch the trailer for that?
No.
The trailer for that kind of, I don't know, it turns Mafia into, the guys are now hunting a psycho who's going to use a nuclear bomb. And I feel like that's just a little off kilter, maybe.
That seems like a little jump sharky there.
A little bit. Friday, June 2nd, another ARMS Test Punch beta. I tried all weekend to do that, and every time, because Nintendo sucks, I missed by at least 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say like you tried to join and it wouldn't connect.
No, because
you just missed the weird time
because
periods
they only
that do.
They'd only do an hour at a time. So I'd hop on and be like, oh, it was 5 minutes ago, not 5 minutes. Nah. So
Well, you've got another opportunity.
chance to miss it. Friday, June 2nd.
If you're not playing also Tekken 7, which comes out that day.
And God, who knows? Who knows? I could be not playing that, but Tuesday,
What
June
fighting game
6th,
will you choose?
I can tell you that I won't be playing Dirt 4. I will not be playing Farming Simulator 18. That's the lie.
18.
Yeah, it's not
18.
It's not the 18th one. It's
Oh,
for
it's
for
from
the year 18.
2018,
I don't
isn't
know
it?
that for a fact. I'm just.
Well,
it
why
could
don't
be
they
18th
put
one.
they forgot the 2018. They just put
It's a simulator. They're simulating the numbers. They don't know. Does that look like a tomato? Do you farm tomatoes? What does that even do? Do you what? I don't know.
No.
You're breaking up. You're destroying my tomatoes. Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale series, episode 2, Under Pressure, also comes out Tuesday, June 6th. And this is one, man. I really hope you will take a look at this one. Wipeout, the Omega collection comes out for PS4 on Tuesday, June 6th. Wipeout, possibly the best racing game of that style ever.
Oh, that reminds me. Danger Zone is out today or yesterday.
Yeah, it did come out yesterday. I definitely want to check that out.
I'm going to check it out immediately. If you haven't gone to the website, it's 0hitpoints.com. At some point, the stream from last Thursday will be up there. It's called Hit Play. That's what we do. That's what they're called. You can go to Facebook, Twitter, and all those things where we also exist and do things and talk.
Frequencies are not as high as we'd like.
But we will stream tomorrow at 7 p.m. PST.
Psst.
Something?
Yeah, I figure maybe we'll give Friday the 13th a shot. See if we can get anything going with that, and if it's still busted, then we will find something else like Gwent.
Hey, that might be accurate.
Gwent to see you.
Good enough.